Hello everyone, PLG here, and welcome to another episode of Starcraft on Android. As you may guess by the last episode, this time we'll be playing through the mission The Big Push. So this is the mission where we get access to Norad II, so the battlecruiser owned by General Duke we saved, two missions back. So let's start the mission. Of course we skip all that. And we're in the mission. So I like to put Duke on the third control group. Now we immediately can see that the speed is of course set to not the fastest. Let's send the dropships here. I don't know, maybe somewhere around here.
I can't believe this. Half a squadron never would have left this equipment behind. That's what I call sloppy.
Of course. As always, Duke is ready to complain about stuff. And since Duke is complaining about stuff, then I guess I can also complain about something. And that is actually the win condition for this mission, which is actually it's kind of very well known in Starcraft 1 for being very stupid and irritating. Because this is the type of mission where you need to destroy literally every single building on the entire map. And some of those buildings are placed in some irritating places. You'll see what I mean in I guess a couple minutes, because maybe not a couple minutes, maybe a bit more. Once we'll get to cleaning out this mission. The missile turrets are especially notorious for being in some really stupid places. Of course, the beginning of this mission is also very easy, considering we have access to Duke, who is a heroic battlecruiser, which is of course something that's, well, very powerful. You know what, we can actually start kind of pushing with Duke. So the second interesting, fun fact about this mission actually lies within the brown terran. Within the game, they're called the Omega Squadron. They are mostly comprised of, well, if you go into the lore portion, they're mostly comprised of criminals who were, I think, nearly resocialized. I do not remember exactly because, this will be left for another episode, another full-time episode. You'll see soon, because I plan another series of Starcraft. But yes, within the lore of the game, and we're pretty much just established things in the game, Omega Squadron, so those guys, are supposed to have the color of black. But because of the game's limitations, they need to use the brown color instead. So they're kind of washed a bit. Alright. Now, of course, while I was microing Duke, I completely forgot to macro my base. So, kind of silly of me. Of course, I forgot to land this one. We don't need 2 nukes, although we will be using plenty of nukes this mission. That brings me to the composition I plan to use for this mission. And this composition is actually present right over here. So this will be, of course, nothing else than Marine Ghost. Ghosts, of course, for, nuking purposes. And Marines for everything else. It may be a little bit painful. And also I will allow myself to use Duke. Because it'd be sad if I wouldn't use him.
Not enough minerals.
Because we're out of minerals already. Because I completely forgot to saturate those mineral lines. Of course, he's stuck. Thankfully, we have dropships. Thankfully, in Starcraft 1, Marines are kind of strong, actually. So yes. I don't know what I wanted to say here. So, wait a second. Let me just send the SCV to repair Duke. But second, refinery, of course, and the SCV. Where is he? He's here, of course. You go over here, repair. Sometimes those steering things, those buttons on the screen are quite problematic, although I think I've mentioned this before. They're both too big and too small for me. And I've tried before other, well, configurations of them, and nothing really sticks perfectly. So I have to kind of sit with what I have. Okay, so yeah, we've already got almost a full stack of Marines, and by stack I mean of course the SC1 stack, not the Minecraft stack. And almost perfectly timed. Oh yes, of course, we also have Wraiths, which they've had their time to shine already. I guess they can be glorified static defense by this point.
Commander, jacked up and good to go. Give me something to shoot. Rock and roll. Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Do we have fully saturated Vespin here? I guess we had, but I guess I'll try to oversaturate it, because why not? More SCVs, of course. This guy completely should make another supply depot. Alright, Duke's getting all healed up. Yeah, I guess I perfectly saturated this Vespin geyser. Right now we get a second engineering bay, because it will be useful. And of course, for base defense purposes, we can grab at least, 3 tanks, because, that's just the normal terran play. Terran would feel very weird without siege tanks. We have a full stack of Marines already. Now, since this is the last mission where the orange Terrans appear, so the Delta Squadron, I can, I guess, talk a bit about them, and well, there isn't actually much to talk about them, because within the game's lore, they're not really fleshed out all that much. And by all that much I mean they're mentioned in this game, and that's it for those 2 missions. But from what we can, I guess, see in the game itself, in the gameplay, we can probably conclude that there may be some kind of, I guess, spaceship-oriented faction in Starcraft, considering that in their first appearance, so the trump card, they have access to a battlecruiser, the first battlecruiser in actual working battlecruiser in the campaigns, because we of course get to see our first battlecruiser in Norad II, but that one isn't exactly a working battlecruiser. Instead, it's a special building of a crashed battlecruiser. Oh, Do they have range for this? Nope. They just shot some random dude over there. Okay. So yes, we can, I guess, conclude that, well, the Orange Terran, the Delta Squadron, may be some kind of spaceship fleet of the Confederacy. And I guess it's of the Confederacy and not of the Dominion later on, because we literally do not get to see them ever again in any of the games. So yeah, I guess it's kind of a sad end for them, being destroyed this mission and never being seen again. We normally would have, well, normally. By normally I mean if the original missions were also included, because originally, I think I've mentioned this before, the Terran campaign was supposed to have 12 missions instead of, well, 10. Originally, we would also get to see them in the mission Operation Silent Scream, so the mission literally right after this mission. And that would be our goodbye to them, because we wouldn't see them ever again. But, you know, at least it would be more of a better conclusion than what we get here, which is, you know, just destruction of their singular base, and that's about it. Okay, so we're getting some static defense, of course, so the revs will be a lot more useless. Okay, now I probably should consider getting an academy. And also let's get ocular implants for our ghosts, so that they do not kill themselves with nukes. I could micro them, but I do not trust myself with the phone controls, so yes, let's just give them this extra range, so that they will be fully safe. Now, let's get a nuke. Since after all I've mentioned that we'll be nuking this mission, and I didn't lie, I absolutely do plan to use nukes this mission. And you'll go over here. I probably should also consider making a bunker, which is, you know, a very optimal choice, considering I'm going almost fully marine and, well, nukes, which the ghosts are only an addition to this. Okay, you go back to work. Well, actually, you go and make a turret.
Upgrade complete. Upgrade complete.
Nope, not here, not here. Okay, this is a fine place for a turret. The multiplayer strats are slowly coming to me, I guess.
Nuclear missile ready.
Alright, amazing. Thankfully, the enemies do not get access to nukes. Otherwise, we'd have quite a big of a problem.
Upgrade complete.
Now, originally, I've been considering using science vessels on this mission as a, you know, supporting thing. But after some consideration, I thought that, you know, they're kind of useless this mission. I mean, science vessels are always useful, but as for their spells, none of them really fit any kind of a purpose here, because, you know, defensive matrix won't really help us that much. Well, maybe a little bit, although how many life does a marine have? 40, so they'd probably expire before...
Is required.
Of course, supply depots. They'd probably expire before the defensive matrix gets worn out, because, you know, the defensive matrix has 250 health, if I remember correctly, so it absorbs that much, but it also lets leaks, like, I think 0.5 damage to the health of the unit. So it wouldn't really help us all that much with our 40 HP marines. So let's get cloak on our ghosts. And let's of course get steam packs, which are a crucial part for this mission if we're going marines. let's get another turret, because why not? And did the upgrades complete? Of course they completed a long time ago. I do not remember, do we get free? Yes, we of course get free here, because on the last mission we had free. Okay, so that was a not Alpha Squadron. Alpha Squadron is the one with Duke as the leader. Delta Squadron made their first attack this mission, and they did almost nothing.
Research complete.
Okay, so our guy is ready.
Research complete.
Okay, we got steam. We got steam, you know what that means. I of course put a hotkey on the cover tops instead of the ghost. Of course.
Nuclear launch detected.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, we're kind of mining out. Doesn't matter. Now, I do not remember whether they have siege tanks or not, but I probably should consider that they do. Okay. Now, I don't know whether I should do save or not. I'm kind of feeling like I should, and I probably will. Yes, they do have siege tanks, although I don't know if they have siege mode. They do not. Okay, they do have. No, that was. I think my siege tanks destroyed my marines a bit. Let's get a second barracks while we're at it. Okay. Alright, so
Missile ready.
can we get a comsat here? Of course we cannot, because this place is, well, I don't have much of a comment for this, do I? It's just Starcraft 1, I guess. Okay, so they will be going somewhere else now for a second. I don't think I should be making any more tanks. So where is the dropship? Here. Okay. I'll probably save the science vessels for the next episode, considering... Wait a second. Okay, he could have just come out himself out of there.
Outline complete.
But yeah, getting back to what I was talking about, science vessels will probably be saved for the next mission, because there are protos there, and we have something called EMP missile on the science vessel.
Upgrade complete.
Okay.
Nuclear launch detected.
More marines.
Reporting for duty. Right away. Ghost reporting.
We don't want to miss the fireworks, of course. So you go back to the base. I probably should wait with decloaking him, although Starcraft Originals AI ain't exactly the sharpest. So I probably won't be doing that. Okay, we don't need as many as 8 marines, but on the other hand, you know what? 2 control groups. Why not? 2 control groups of marines is probably a great idea. Especially on a mission where the enemy has access to siege tanks. Well, actually, did we conclude that the enemy has siege tanks, or did we just, I guess... no, they have siege tanks, but I don't think they have siege mode on them. Okay, now I remember. Okay, so let's do a quick scan and analyze. Damn, okay. I guess they're kinda crap. Okay, so you know what that means. Do I have free already? No, we don't. Doesn't matter. we do in fact also have steam. So, and we also have the support of artillery. Now I'm kind of scared of my own tanks destroying my units, which, of course, if you play Terran, you know that happens quite a lot. Yeah, Marines in Starcraft 1 are really freaking good, especially that I think they benefit a lot from upgrades. Yeah, especially, yeah, I'm talking about them being great and all of my Marines just die. Okay. So, did I start another nuke or did I not? We also need to find a prime target for it. And I think I found a perfect one. Alright. Yeah, this mission is pretty fun actually. It's... interestingly enough, it's not as much of a hassle as the last one. The last one was a lot more, at least in my opinion, a lot more, I guess, well, tight overall. And the enemies were slightly more aggressive. Although I might be mixing up things because recently I've been playing a bit of Starcraft on my PC. I've been trying out a mod called UADIP. It's very fun actually, but very, very difficult. It's been for... I've been trying it out because I was interested in it, and also because I wanted to kind of improve my abilities with Starcraft overall. Okay, I literally just oversteamed, and I probably should have started out with my goals, but doesn't matter, it's just probably like, you know, 1,000 or something of minerals in Marines. Okay, so we'll do it like right here.
Base is under attack.
Okay.
Nuclear launch detected.
Yeah, Delta Squadron is a bit of a joke in this mission. Except for the prime antagonist of all of Starcraft. This freaking missile turret. It's always the biggest problem. I always, well, at least for me, I always forget about it. Okay, we missed the fireworks unfortunately because I had to rant about the stupid missile turrets. Okay. So we're slowly producing more. Well, Marines, and I will start up a third
Upgrade
CC
complete.
for, of course, expansion purposes. Because what else? Now let's get our last turret here because we don't really need anymore. Now in a couple of seconds we get a full stack of Marines. We got them all. We got them in our control group and let's just push through. Did I start the nuke? No, I did not. Now of course they're getting lost everywhere because, you know, that's the Starcraft 1 tradition. I don't think they're getting any upgrades. Nope. Okay, so they're against the free Marines. Okay, so it's over for them, I guess. I don't think I even need to steam them anymore. Did the enemies even have steam, actually? I didn't notice. I think last mission they did. Well, we still have Delta Squadron to figure out, so maybe they will have steam. Maybe they will be more of a challenge for us. Now I really need to be careful to not move my own dudes. That would be very silly and
Forces are under
bad
assault
game
ready.
gameplay of me, wouldn't it? Okay, so I guess this guy's over here. Now I'm wondering whether I should move the siege tanks from there, or should I just, not move them? I do not remember whether the enemies have, whether the enemies have drops or not.
Your forces are under attack.
Was there something here? There wasn't. So we can, I guess, go straight to the orange base with our ghost. A single ghost, not ghosts. Okay, so cloak, and let's give them a nice surprise.
Your forces are under attack.
I do not remember whether they do have detection here or do not. I guess we'll lose a ghost if they do. Okay, they do. They apparently had detection somewhere over here. I won't be risking
Nuclear
it
launch
much.
detected.
It's not needed. Okay, so these guys can go over here, and you can land. And of course we didn't lose a single marine in this push. I don't know how long it took me, because I have the version of the game where I don't think I actually have a display of the time I've spent on this mission. This is some kind of an older version. I think it's 1.16.1, but I'm not too sure at this point. I do not remember. I've installed it quite some time ago.
Your forces are under attack.
Oh no, not a Wraith. Not a Wraith, and yeah, I'm acting all cocky, but actually I lost my first marine to him, so kudos to him, I guess. And as I've mentioned, we need to thoroughly destroy all of that. Then they're sending out the battle cruiser. You know what that means? We need to get back there.
Nuclear launch detected.
Otherwise, they will definitely be problematic. Now, I probably don't need to. Well, you know what? No, I don't need to at all. I should probably leave the barracks over here. And I don't know if I need any more marines, but it's better to be safe. It's better to be safe.
Your forces are under
Another
attack.
nuke. Yeah, fully expected. Of course.